Great Expectations, by Charles Dickens, follows the life of an orphan named Pip, who dreams of becoming a gentleman and discovers the true meaning of wealth and happiness. Early life at the marshes. The story begins with young Pip, an orphan living with his harsh sister, Mrs. Jo Gargery, and her kind-hearted blacksmith husband, Joe. One evening, while visiting the graves of his parents, Pip encounters an escaped convict named Magwitch. The convict intimidates Pip into stealing food and a file to help him. Despite his fear, Pip pities the man and aids him. However, Magwitch is soon captured and taken back to prison. Pip's early years are marked by poverty and a longing for a better life. His sister's constant reprimands and the townsfolk's dismissive attitudes make him feel small and insignificant. Joe, though uneducated, is Pip's only source of comfort and kindness, treating him with gentle understanding and respect. Not long after, Pip is invited to the grand but decaying Satis house by Miss Havisham, a wealthy, eccentric old woman who wears an old wedding dress and lives in a house frozen in time. She wants Pip to play with her beautiful but cold-hearted ward, Estella. Pip falls deeply in love with Estella despite her disdain and cruelty towards him. This visit sparks Pip's desire to become a gentleman, hoping to win Estella's heart. A change of fortune. Years pass and Pip works as an apprentice to Joe. He is content but yearns for a better life. One day, a lawyer named Mr. Jaggers visits Pip with astonishing news. Pip has come into a large fortune from an anonymous benefactor and is to go to London to be educated as a gentleman. Pip assumes the benefactor is Miss Havisham, hoping she intends for him to marry Estella. In London, Pip befriends Herbert Pocket, who becomes his roommate and teaches him the ways of the upper class. Herbert also reveals that Miss Havisham was jilted on her wedding day and has raised Estella to break men's hearts in revenge. Pip continues to love Estella, even as she warns him that she is incapable of love. Life in London. Pip's life in London is filled with luxury, but it comes at a cost. He becomes ashamed of his humble origins and distances himself from Joe and his old life. Pip struggles with guilt and unease about his newfound wealth, especially as he sees how it changes his values and relationships. Pip receives a visit from Joe, who brings a message that his sister Mrs. Joe has died. The visit makes Pip realize how far he has drifted from his roots. After returning home for the funeral, he starts to reflect on his choices and their impacts on the people who love him. The true benefactor. One stormy night, Pip is visited by Magwitch, the convict he helped years ago. To Pip's shock, Magwitch reveals that he is the true source of Pip's fortune, having made a fortune in Australia and deciding to repay Pip's kindness by making him a gentleman. This revelation shatters Pip's dreams and illusions. Horrified and confused, Pip initially plans to abandon Magwitch, but soon decides to help him escape, realizing he owes him gratitude and loyalty. With Herbert's help, Pip devises a plan to smuggle Magwitch out of the country. Meanwhile, Pip learns more about Estella's background. She is the daughter of Magwitch and a woman named Molly, who works for Mr. Jaggers. This discovery adds another layer to Pip's complicated feelings towards Estella. Redemption and reconciliation. As Pip attempts to help Magwitch escape, they are betrayed, and Magwitch is captured. He is seriously injured and sentenced to death. Pip stays by his side, comforting him and revealing that his lost daughter is alive and well. Magwitch dies in peace, knowing that his daughter has been cared for. Pip's fortune is forfeited to the crown, and he falls ill. Joe comes to London to nurse him back to health, displaying unwavering kindness and forgiveness. Pip realizes the true value of Joe's friendship and decides to return home to ask for Joe and Biddy's forgiveness. Return to the marshes. Back at the marshes, Pip finds that Joe has married Biddy. Although he feels a pang of regret, he is happy for them. Pip decides to start anew, working hard to repay his debts. He joins Herbert in a business venture abroad, gradually rebuilding his life and character. Reunion with Estella. Years later, Pip returns to England and visits Satis house, now in ruins. He meets Estella, who has suffered in an unhappy marriage but has grown wiser and kinder. The two walk away from the remnants of their past, hand in hand, suggesting a hopeful future together. Conclusion. Pip's journey from a poor orphan to a gentleman and back again teaches him that true wealth lies in love, loyalty, and integrity. He learns to value the simple, genuine relationships he once took for granted, finding redemption and peace in the process.